Welcome back to video 2 in this series where we are talking about the founder story playbook, moving from invisibility to unstoppable. You see, your story is a fundamental element of your business. If you own it, if you master it, and if you know how to use it, activate it for your business, you will never need to compete with anybody. Now, let me share a piece of information with you. It has been shown, according to different sources, that since humanity show up on Earth, there will be about 170 billion people. Let's say over 100 billion people. You know what is the important point about that? Is that each of us, since day one, have been unique, which is to say, your story is unique to you. You cannot copy another person. You are supposed to master your own story, share your narrative. The universe demands that from you, that you own your story, irrespective of what happened. A couple of days ago, we did an episode where we talk about reframing. Either things can happen. There are a lot of things that you cannot control in your life, but at least you can control the narrative, that you can reframe the situation and let it serve you. So this is fundamentally important. If you are a founder, you are a business owner, particularly a service-based business owner, we encourage you to own your story because your story make it possible for you not to compete with anybody, because no two people are exactly the same in this world. If you know your story, you basically become unstoppable. If you don't know your story, you remain invisible because you continue to race down to the bottom in the world of commodity. You don't want to be a commodity. You want to be able to offer a premium service. Premium service is not done with mere commodity, it's done with your story. When you help people to understand the value that you bring to the market. In this video, we're going to be talking about the story compass. This is a 3-part framework to find your story. And like what many might be thinking, the raw material actually isn't your story. What is raw material? Raw material is like maybe when you go to the field to gather the stone or to gather the fruit. Those are not really your story. Those are the elements you need to be able to craft your story. You know, a lot of things might have happened to you, but in itself, those are not the story. Those are just the raw material. And like we said in video 1 or in part 1 of this 3-part series, we found a layer of your journey. This is important that you design your story in a way that it can have the beginning, the middle, and the end, and it can have a sense into it. Why is it important? It is important because an unstructured story leads to confusion. Do you know what happens when there is confusion in the mind of your audience? Now, let's say the client, because that is the most important part, because we're talking about business situation. In business, you have people that are going to buy from you, or the prospect who are in front of your product. They want to buy your product. But if they are confused, don't know how to justify the premium service that you are charging them, they will not buy, because they say, well, let me think about it, or let me consider the other option, because there are many options in the market. You are not the only one in the market. So this is also another reason why you must make sure that clarity is the most important part of your conversation. And that is the reason why in our 3-part story to asset framework, the number 1 is clarity. That is actually where we start from, because we need to know what is your story. Where are you coming from? Why are you doing what you are doing? What is the motivation behind it? Who are the people you are serving? If we eventually succeed, if you succeed in what you are doing, what is it going to look like for you personally to start with? You know, of course, we'll start looking at other area. And we usually do this in a couple of actually in less than a month, we should be able to or cover that story through a series of back and forth conversation with the founder. So clarity is fundamentally important for you. So a simple tool to find your narrative is a true north. It is saying that you know exactly what you are hammering on, exactly what is the objective that you are trying to paint before the people. That is actually what turns your raw material into a powerful, clear story. And they have 3 essential elements. They are the origin wound, the problem you could not stand anymore. What is the frustration? Your own frustration, or the one that you have witnessed that forced you to take action. This is the emotional core of your story. You see, what I was saying before is that I've had the occasion to interview a lot of people, and I've had founder. For example, yesterday I did an interview with an Italian coach who was telling me that he actually started his coaching business at the time of the birth of his daughter because a particular situation happened that make it take the decision to become a coach so that he's now helping other people that might have similar situation. Different entrepreneur or different founder get into business for different reasons. We are not all the same. All of us are not the same. We are acting based on different intuition, based on different motive, based on different motivation. And we are also not looking for the same thing. So it is not going to be good for you that you simply copy another person who is taking action based on a different motivation than you. Because you might think that the person is looking to make more say. Maybe more say is not actually what he's looking for. Because all of us are not the same, it would be wrong for you to just simply copy another person and say, it is working for you. You don't even know why it is working. The person have done experiment. I mean, your competitor have done all the experiment to be able to come to the conclusion that this A and B is working. It's our strategy to adopt. It's the right approach for us to adopt in our marketing. You that don't know anything about it, you just copy and paste. It's obvious that it's not going to work. Even if it works, you don't know why it works, so you cannot replicate that because you do not have the same ambition, you don't have the same motivation, you don't have the same experience. The frame, the material that was needed to create that story, the raw material, they are not the same. So it cannot possibly end up in the same way, which is why it is important that you know your story, collect the raw material yourself. What is the wound? What is when you decide that you want to take this action? What kind of frustration did you have to overcome? Only you know that in depth. Even though you might make mention of it here and there, the people that are listening to you do not know that in depth. Only you know that. So you have the key to be able to lock it and unlock it. For example, you hear me talk about the story to asset framework. Of course, it's a very simple statement to asset framework. But do you know where the idea is coming from? You can't simply just copy that and not call your business to asset framework. You don't know, you don't have an idea about it. I might even tell you how it works, but you still do not understand because I can never tell you everything about it because it's many years in the making to be able to come to the conclusion that we now call our premium service story to asset framework. It's not because we just stumble about it. We make a lot of experimentation. We make a lot of failed experiments until we come to the conclusion that this is the way we want to operate. So that you, now that you're just hearing about it, will say, okay, let me just copy that one and put it in my business. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You need to be able to find your own tree, refine it until it works for you. Are you going to make mistakes? A lot of it. Making mistake in the process is what makes you to grow thick skin. It's what makes you to become stronger. It what makes you to become deeply rooted because now you know the in and out of it. You know everything about the process because you have experimented on it. You have failed about it different times. Now, when you say this is what it is, it's what it is because you know it inside out. Of course, that is what helps you to understand the turning point, the moment of insight. The what if moment, because sometimes in our business, it gets to a point that maybe it appears that all the roads are blocked. You don't know where to go. You don't know how to proceed. You don't know whether to go on or to just stop. And at that point, you are manufacturing the possible exit. And you start asking, what if I just try this? What if I try it? What instead of going straight? Maybe if I turn left or turn right, maybe I just need to change the color a little bit. Maybe it's the font. Maybe it's the message. I need to do this and do that. And you keep tweaking, you keep tweaking, you keep tweaking. Until eventually you get to the aha moment. The moment that you know that it is right. You get the point. You really get it clear now. Only you know that story. That is your story. Because you are walking, you are doing something. You are passing through the low, the high, the low, the high, the low, the high. People will never see this. There is no way people can see this. When you tell this story, you become original because nobody in this world is going to make that experiment. People might make experiment that might look similar, but not exactly that experiment because they do not have the same raw material that you have. You have that raw material, you have that ambition, you have that situation, you have that motivation that make you to jump into this and say, this is what I want to do based on this. This is what I want to obtain from this. You are unique. Your story, therefore, should be unique. Are you coming from the same place like me? I'm Obehi N14. I am the only Obehi N14 in this world. I am the only person that is coming from my family with this identity. You cannot steal my identity. It is not possible. If you steal what I'm doing, you will become a counterfeit. You haven't made the experiment that I have made. Do you know how I got to Italy? How many times I have failed? You see, my story is based on that. How many times I couldn't make it? My story is based on that. So your story should also be based on your experiment or your rising and falling or your mistakes. When you're thinking this was the right path, it ended up to be wrong, but you learn and find a way to turn it around. It's your story. And again, I was saying in video 1, why this is important is when you are talking to other people, probably the amateur, those who are just getting started as entrepreneur, as founder, as business owner, like you, they yet haven't experimented what you have experimented or what you are experimenting. So by the time you share this story with them, they look at you where you are today, they look at themselves where they are right now, they have the courage that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Now imagine if you have never done any experiment, what are you going to share with them? The one that you have read in a book? Anybody can read a book. But the experiences that you have made, your personal experiences, is unique. That can never be read in a book. That is your experience. There is a mark that. So it is powerful that you own your story, looking at the raw material based on your experiences, you craft it. Of course, you can add a little bit and pieces from here and there, but this is going to be mainly based on your experience because living is about experiencing. We don't live in prosing. We don't imagine life. We really live. And when you live, you understand it. You know, there is a saying that you don't describe headache to people. They should know what is headache because there is none of us that doesn't have headache, that haven't experienced headache. So when you say, I'm having headache, a normal human being should understand what a headache is. Because after you share with them now all the different passes that you have taken, of course, you come to the conclusion on how you eventually got there because they will see that you have succeeded. Of course, what many people see oftentimes is that they see that you have succeeded. Sometimes they say, you don't win jackpot, you don't hit, you don't hammer. But before you hammer, that is what we are talking about today. That one day you had a vision, one day you see something happen, one day you see people couldn't sleep because there is a lot of mosquitoes. So you decide to invent a mosquito net. You are different from another person who just went and buy mosquito net and start selling. Your story is different because you see something that carry you into action. You see that the children around you couldn't find any book to read, so you decide to write a book or publish a book or go somewhere and buy a book and bring it to them to read. And from there, it becomes a business where you are now distributing books to all the countryside. Your story is different. When you narrate that story, it's going to be different from every other person. Either after people have experienced what you are doing, something changed. There is a new world, which of course you are going to be telling because you are affecting people, you are impacting people with your services. These are be different ways for you to be able to find your story. And finding your story is a powerful, powerful way for you to be able to stand out in your business because now you never need to compete with everybody in the market. There are over 5 billion people on the internet and many people that are just doing the Me Too type of content every now and then, everywhere and all the time. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because you are unique. So your story should be unique. Your experiences are unique. In part 3 of this video, we're going to be looking at important part of the conversation because a great story that nobody hears is just a secret. In our final session, I will teach you how to amplify your story. So in case this is your first time here, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and make sure you share this information to other people that might also need it. It costs you nothing. It costs you nothing to comment on it and let us know what you think. Let me know what you think. Does it even make sense to you? Do you know your story? Do you know how to find your story? Are you looking for a solution? Are you going to take action? Our story to asset framework is entirely dedicated to founder and service-based business owner who we totally believe deserve to own their story, because the services that they are rendering is different from buying a pack of pasta and selling it in the market. You are selling an invisible product. In most of the cases, you need story to be able to back it up, especially if you are not just doing the commodity type of product. If you are doing a premium service that is going to charge a certain amount of money, you need story. We help you to be able to take hold of your story, master it, own it, and use it for your business. Because with your story, you don't compete with anyone. You never need to compete with any person, but you are unique. If you believe you are, let's have this conversation.